All right, and welcome everyone to the Ginette Biro podcast. We are diving into the November energy update today. There's lots of stuff to share. There's a lot of stuff shifting and changing as always. I know we talk about that all the time, but it's all changing for the better. So this is a really good thing. So I'm so grateful that you guys are joining me today on the show. Thank you so much. I really, truly mean it when I say I'm grateful to those of you that listen, that show up and listen to the messages from the guides of the higher realms, the insights, the stories that are shared, because it's all about sharing stories. As we share stories and share understandings, we then can choose what we want to do as a result of what we know. So it's never about me convincing you to believe as I believe, do as I do. It's a matter of sharing an idea, a thought, a way of accomplishing something, and then you choose for you what pieces you take from that, if it aligns or if it doesn't. And whatever it triggers you to do is your choice because of what you have learned or open to or become aware of. And maybe it wasn't even the message that I was sharing, but the message I shared inspired you or triggered you to dive into something, to open up something else that was completely unrelated. Either way, here it is. The November energy update is all about powerful new beginnings. So this month in November, this is a month of powerful new beginnings. These beginnings come from the darkness, the transformation, the death, the decay, and the underbelly. So when I say death and decay, that can be a triggering word for people of like darkness and bad and things falling apart, but it's not about that. It's actually from allowing something to end, allowing that ending to break down, to provide details and understandings of what this new beginning can be. Just like leaves fall off the tree, they die, they fall off, they decay, but their decay nourishes the soil so that new life can grow. This is what I'm talking about. So I'm not talking about it from a negative. I'm actually talking about it from the cycles and how that brings us powerful new beginnings. So consider this. We stepped into Scorpio on October 23rd. So the astrological sign of Scorpio is all about, it's a water sign. So it's about emotions. It's kind of a moody energy. It's very passionate, but it does talk about transformation and death as well. It's this dark sign that confuses many people. A lot of people say they can't quite figure out how to describe or explain Scorpio. But this darkness that's allowing for transformations and this powerful new beginning, like it is so timely that it is happening right now. It is timely that it is since all the planets have gone forward and direct, right? We had so many planets in retrograde through September and October, and they've gone forward now. We now have so much momentum pushing us forward. So that doesn't mean everything will be perfectly cleared and aligned for you. It might. But it means that you are in this powerful place right now with the energy of November to be consciously rewriting your destiny. How cool does that sound? These are these powerful new beginnings. A lot of people right now are talking about being in this energy of a void, right? Of this kind of in between. And I can see that. I can see what some people are meaning by this void. But to me, I see it almost as instead of a void of darkness, I see that there is a light guiding. So if some people are feeling like they're in a dark tunnel or they're in darkness, my encouragement would be to lift your head up. And do you actually see light at the end of the tunnel? Because this is the message that I keep getting from Spirit, is there's a light at the end of the tunnel for you individually. And this is the key piece. The light at the end of the tunnel is there for you individually if you're willing to move and grow through it. The light of the collective right now isn't necessarily the same. There's still a collective darkness of a lot of shift and change, but for the individual, if they're willing, they can begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Some of you might already be seeing that. And you're like, yep, I see it, totally do. Others of you may be questioning if that is true for you or not. But my encouragement is look up. See if you can see anything from a higher perspective. Raising your perspective may change and ignite that light that is waiting for you at the end of the tunnel. So November brings with it more dramatic shifts and changes and surfacings, which we've been seeing through this year. 2021 has been a lot about changing. And in order to change, we need to see what's happening. So there still may be some crumblings that need to happen within you, but it's more so look to the crumblings happening outside of you for what you wish to shift and change within. That's a constant. But it's also about really taking this momentum that I was talking about with the planets going forward and putting things into action. November is a month for action, for you choosing what your next step is. Now, this choosing, though, has to come with patience because, again, we are really in these heavy energies of co-creation with the universe. So when you are choosing your part, allow some time for the universe to act on its part. And it may surprise you how fast it will act. But if you get so hyper-focused on how the universe should act for you, it may not happen that way. So you choose for you and then allow the universe to co-create with that and have a bit of patience for how that happens. Remembering, though, that we are in momentum. So this should be shifting and changing faster than you think. That was another message from the guides of the higher realms and the three guides of the light. They were saying, the more that you believe that we are here helping you, the more we have space to help you. If you are blocking that space by doubt and not trusting that they are there to help, it makes it harder for them to come closer to help to manifest those dreams and intentions you set to help align things in 3D life for you. If we are blocking with doubt, it makes it harder for them to intervene, to connect in, to make these synchronicities happen. So something to keep in mind is, where are you blocking? One of the other places we may be blocking the universe to co-create is in our shadows. So again, we have talked about shadow work, but going in and healing what you can within self is your key to transformation, because it allows you to use more energy in manifesting and intent setting and creating and co-creating than being pulled back to old stories and old histories. Because remember, I talked about how we are in a new template. We are in this new template right now. We have this new golden template available to us, which is a higher consciousness template. And we can click into that template, but we have to be willing to click into it. And if we can't quite click into it, which parts are not aligning? And what does that mean? That means what in your life still doesn't quite feel right. Not everything has to be fixed and perfect, but you will know when something feels right or is in the process of being mended or fixed, because it'll feel in alignment. But something that feels out of alignment, that's a part that needs to be refined to fit this mold, to fit this ideal template of movement forward. So the question is, what in your life needs alignment? What is being mirrored back at you right now so that you can refine the edges of your mold to fit with this collective higher consciousness mold? And again, I'm using the description of a mold, but it's not a rigid mold. It is, it's energy, and energy is moving. So I'm just using that as an explanation. So checking your shadows and healing them. Opening to how the universe can help you and being patient is our key. Another one is checking your ego. Check your ego to where it may be giving you opportunities to explore yourself a little bit more, or where it may also be preventing you from moving forward. Again, your ego can shine a light on things that need to be healed. So the other thing they want to talk about is shifting perspectives. How, again, remember that light at the end of the tunnel. When we're willing to shift our perspectives, we really can open up a whole new light. So this means reviewing some perspectives that maybe we thought we had solidified, understandings of how life should be, understandings of what relationships should look like, between parent and child, siblings, spouse, friends. Reassess what those are for you. Change your perspective. You get to create so much of your reality right now. It's absolutely imperative you recognize your perspective. Pardon me, I don't know why that came out so hard. Your perspective really dictates what your reality looks like. So if you find your perspective is really gloomy right now, how can you shift it? What can you do? Because again, we are in this new cycle. make this new cycle work the best for you. And I'm talking about perspectives here too, because this is kind of one of the insights or heads up about what 2022 is going to be about. A lot is going to be about perspective, the reality you create because of your perspective. And 2022, again, to be giving some little glimpses into it, there's still going to be much that needs to shift and change. We are in this 4 years total till 2024 for this phase of change. So there's going to be more changes, but you're going to either have the ability to allow these changes to kind of work with you or work against you. And that's all going to come from your perspective. So that's why Spirit's saying, like, heal what you can, check your ego, and at the end of everything, check your perspective. Has it changed? And be willing to allow it to change if it does. Because perspective is really going to determine whether life gets a whole lot harder or life gets a whole lot easier for you in 2022. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to do too is mention how within this new cycle, to kind of give you an indicator of like refining those edges, like I was talking about, and refining your perspective, is what it seems like so far is the divine feminine has managed to find a way to click into this timeline. And I'm not talking about females versus males in gender. I'm not talking about embodiment. I'm talking about the energy of expression, things being curvilinear and malleable, nurturing, compassionate. That's the divine feminine energy. The divine masculine energy is action-oriented. It is taking a stand of higher thought. The divine feminine seems to have connected in with this template. The divine masculine principles that are still slightly connected to wounding seem to be slower to connecting into this template. So I say this because what in your life right now are you still viewing from a wounded masculine perspective? Again, that connects back to ego. That can connect back to your shadow work, inner child work. And I'm using this masculine perspective to maybe give another angle of how you can look at it, because people are always saying, like, how do I heal what I don't know? How do I find it? There's many roads to finding it. It can be through what is mirrored at you, what triggers you, all that kind of stuff. But to give you another insight from Spirit is that it seems to be the masculine energy, the divine masculine, hasn't clicked into place either. So there's still wounding happening in there, which is usually connected to ego, to feeling less than, to doubt, to all of that kind of stuff. So again, these new changes and shifts can happen so much faster and with more ease when we are working with the light, with that higher energy, but we have to be willing to step up to that. So that's something really to consider as we move forward throughout the month of November. So that's talking about the work that we have to do. Now, I want to talk about the joy of what November brings as well. So for those of you that have been doing the work of clearing, of transforming, of shifting perspectives, for those of you that are currently doing it, for those of you that have, I mean, I think we constantly are refining that process for ourselves. November can bring a lot of beauty and bounty, of sacred moments, of these beautiful moments that you just come back and fall in love with awe and wonder of your 3D life. I'm not talking about the collective 3D around you. I'm talking about your 3D life, your ability to fall in love with nature, to fall in love with the beauty of the trees as they've been changing colors, to fall in love with these beautiful family moments that, you know, happen upon you. And you just have this ability to see it from a perspective of, wow, isn't it amazing to be human right now? November can bring a lot of that with these powerful new beginnings. And if you recognize those moments and you harness them, like really, like harness them like you would a horse, like get a good harness, hang on to those and ride those energies, you will be riding into higher consciousness. You will be riding into higher manifestation and growth. We can see beauty through the struggles that we're going through right now. We have to choose to see it from that perspective. So just as much as Scorpio season is bringing this, you know, emotional, moody, watery, transformative death, decay energy, it also brings passion. It also brings this beautiful light, like a full moon shining a light on a really peaceful night. It also brings joy and beauty And we have access to that. This is the exciting thing about where this year has taken us. Like Spirit has been saying, with whatever dark comes, we will bring equal parts light. The more clearing we do of self, the more we have an ability to see those equal parts light. The more we recognize what we can do to work with the dark within, the more we realize we can work and manifest in the light. It's these beautiful pairings of light and dark within, which, as always, creates wholeness. You get to harness that when you choose to actively participate in that. And so November is about action, is about actively participating, choosing your perspective, like I said. And I know I'm repeating stuff, but it's with purpose. Sometimes we have to hear things several times for it to really sink in. And so that is the wish from Spirit, is that you take November, you really take the energy and run with it. Create what you can from this energy. Notice the things around you, but instead of being caught up in fear or worry or chaos, choose what you want to do about it instead. Shift it for you. Grab on to those harnesses of equal parts light. For everything you've moved through in dark, fill it with equal parts light. And keep going from there. So I hope this helps with your November energy update. We did get a little heads up there into 2022. There will be more to come, and I will do a deep dive into what that has in store in December. So for now, you guys, I wish you a wonderful month of November, of love, of goodness, of cleaning house, transformation, shifting, and just like standing in that power pose. You know, I think it was, I can't remember if it was on Friends or if it was on Grey's Anatomy, but they talked about standing in the superhero pose. When you stand in the superhero pose, which is your fists on your hips and your legs kind of shoulder width apart, shoulders back. It's this energy of power. And you can stand in that pose on a sunny day with beautiful music in the background. But you can also stand in that same pose on a windy, blustery, rainy day, and you can embody the energy of passion, light, positivity, and forward movement of making the choices you want. So if I could wrap up November into one thing, it would be that superhero pose. Super powerful. I dare you to try it. All right, you guys, have a wonderful rest of your month. And, you know, do check out avalonspirit.com. As always, we have a ton of offerings coming up on there. We also have a bunch more products available for Christmas. They make great Christmas gifts, from stones to beautiful bracelet combinations to amplify your energy, divine ceremony kits. We have some course offerings as well, plus the personal journey guides. There's tons to see on there. Now, if you're listening for the first time, thank you so much. Please do like and subscribe. And yeah, I wish you guys a beautiful rest of your day. And oh, lastly, check out also Avalon Spirit's Spirit Coffee Talk on the Avalon Spirit YouTube page. If you're enjoying what I do in the podcast, this is an opportunity for you to get more of it with other beautiful ladies, Lisa Richmond and Elise Catherine from Avalon Spirit. We all sit and chat and talk about the energies and what's going on. So definitely check that out too. And all right, that's all I got. You guys have a beautiful rest of your month.